All righty, there you go, folks. How y'all doing this evening, 8 o'clock here on your Wednesday, August the 20th here, as we're doing a little bit of coverage here tonight on Hurricane Erin. We're going to go through the latest schematics on this. We're actually simulcasting on this one. I haven't done it on the new Facebook page here on the North Georgia Majestic Weather page, so we're going to be doing it simulcast. I do have both chats over here on the side, so I can kind of look at both of them if we got anything kind of popping up. Hopefully my eyeballs are good enough to read it for you. Again, I don't have my Chat Ninja program back yet, but we'll go from there. Again, anybody coming on board here, a couple things you could do for me if you're coming on board. If you're make sure you're subscribed. If you're already a subscriber, I appreciate you. You know I love you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. And if you're watching over on the Facebook side, because it's the first time I've actually done a simulcast on the Facebook side, very important that you like and follow on Facebook as well, as we're trying to get both platforms to kind of moving in the right direction there. And I, again, could appreciate all the help you guys can give us here on our little channel. All right, we got a lot to get into. Now, we'll say this. The 8 o'clock advisories come out, and the pressure is down a couple more millibars. It shows at 941 millibars, but the winds still have not gone anywhere. So what that tells me is that the higher winds are above the surface. Now, we're still waiting for the official Hurricane Hunter aircraft to get back out there. They're not out there just yet. I'm waiting on the new vortex message. Now, vortex message is when they drew the drop sounds into the eye and they kind of get an idea what the winds are doing above and at the surface. So hopefully as we go on here for the next couple hours, we'll be able to figure out what's going on. It's still a very healthy looking storm. It looks so much prettier in the visible imagery, but obviously we have lost that daylight now, so we're having to use the infrared imagery out there. So as you look at what's going on, you clearly a little bit of dry air in here showing up in there. So that's definitely an inhibitor there. And we don't have what we call a really organized, I would call CDO, a central dense overcast there showing up on this imagery. When we were looking at this thing, when it was a Cat 5, it was really, really symmetrical, real pretty, had a nice one there. Now I'm gonna tell you folks, this is a large hurricane. I mean, if you're gonna go ahead and kind of plot the cloud deck here from one end to the other, you're talking about 700 miles across this thing. Now the wind field is about 285, 300. So, but the cloud deck alone is very large. So it's a big hurricane, okay? It's producing a lot of movement of the water here. It is continuing to pound the coastal areas here. Again, you got that clockwise circulation there. So we got a lot of pounding here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. They're not going to get with a tremendous amount of wind. They're going to be looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds, gusts, I think, for the most part. It's going to be the surge and the wave action that's going to do most of the damage, not only to the dunes, which has already happened, roads getting washed out, some islands that have been cut off. So it's going to be kind of a mess there to clean up here in the days ahead. The good news is that this is on the left side of the center of circulation. So what that means is that we don't have to worry about tornadoes. The tornadoes would be basically predominantly here on the right side that you'd be looking at to have that kind of stuff. So we're not going to be seeing anything like that to worry about there. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the specifics on this. We are seeing a few of the outer bands here showing up on the outside here, just kind of scraping the locations there a little bit. We can look at, see if the storm chasers, there's one out here on the island, see what they're seeing visually. I was looking at them earlier. They're driving right now. So they were down on the coast earlier. It's getting kind of dark, so we're probably not going to see a whole lot there with what's going on. Obviously, the higher elevations there are looking pretty good, but any of the homes out there that are not on stilts, they're going to have some problems. You can see the power still on. It's cloudy, but not really too bad. It looks like things will be going downhill there probably as we head toward the early morning hours. That's why everything's looking. It's, again, a glancing blow. We're not looking at a major setup there, but it's going to be a glancing blow with this as this kind of comes on by here. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to close that off there. Let's go to the next, go to the storm track here. So here is the latest information on the storm. Again, we're moving to the north at 14 miles per hour. You kind of get a look-see. You see how close the tropical storm force winds are really close to the coast now. So that'll be moving in probably after midnight. We'll be looking at that around that time. And I'll show you the model data on that here in a second as well, as this will be kind of moving. Now you see it's going to race on out into the middle of the Atlantic. So again, this thing's not going to be too big a deal from a landfall perspective, but it's going to cause some headaches. Obviously, we have rip currents all up and down the eastern seaboard. Again, I have not seen officially any deaths. Hope we haven't had any. Hope folks have been staying out of the water. A tremendous amount of beach erosion along the Carolinas. That's been going on. This thing slowed down, so it's been really pounding the wave action on the coast here. for a little over a day and a half or so now. So it's been a little bit of a problem with those folks there. All right, so that's where we're currently sitting right there. Maximum sustained winds 110. 115 brings us to Cat 3. 130 is Cat 4. So the fact that the winds didn't go up, we're not going to hit Cat 4. That's not going to happen. I still think we're going to get Cat 3. I think with Hurricane Hunter aircraft are out there because of the air pressure. Air pressure is 941. That's pretty low. That should be more. That's low enough for a Category 3 hurricane. So I think we're going to see at least get to 115, 120 on this thing before we see it. Right now, it keeps it as a major hurricane right through tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. You see, that's the 2 o'clock position. You got the M there, so that's major hurricane. So we should see by the 11 o'clock advisory tonight that upgrade to a Category 3 as this thing slides on by. All right, so that is what we're seeing there on that. Let's look at, again, this is one of 3 systems out here. They did upgrade this system out here up to a higher level. That is that next level disturbance. That probably going to become our F storm, Ferdinand, and I think it's going to be a fish storm. It's 70% chance of development. This other one out here is 40%. This is the one back behind here that I'm probably going to be more likely to watch as we look at the overnight forecast models. I want to see what that's going to entail for us here. If this one, I will tell you right now, when this thing moves on out, we're going to have a big trough here in the east. Okay, so this storm here is it's gonna have to undercut, come into the Caribbean and come in through the Gulf to come on in here, because if it stays far enough north with this big trough, anything comes out of the Caribbean, it's gonna just curve right back out to sea, because the Bermuda High is a little bit further off toward the east than we normally. It's like sitting way over here. So this is over closer to the Azores, and Bermuda's sitting over here. So it is way off toward the east, and we got the weakness in the eastern portion of the United States. So anything that comes up too far of a latitude with that kind of setup, it's going to curve right back out to sea, which is good. We don't want to have any big hurricanes coming on in there, and we don't want anything to get into the Gulf of Mexico either, because the Gulf is pretty hot. It's pretty warm out there, 86, 87 degree water temperatures out there for the most part. So again, we got a lot of hurricane season still to go. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the model data here. We want to look at we're going to look at some of the stuff here. We're going to look at the latest high resolution model data here first. We want to look at that to begin with. Here we go. This one. Here we go. And this is the 22Z run. This goes out about 18 hours. So we got an idea of what's going to go on here going up here till late. So this is 10 o'clock at night. This is getting up toward midnight, and looks like 2 or 3 in the morning we start getting some of this stuff here coming in here along the coast area. So this is about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning as this comes on into there, kind of raking the Outer Banks there. That's probably when you're going to see the highest winds going to come in there as well. So it's going to be late when this comes on in, and then it'll squeak on by and then move on out to sea. So right now, like, this did not initialize very well because it shows the pressure at 958. And the pressure out there is 941. So it's obviously a little bit, but it does show it strengthening. It does show the pressure falling down to 954. So this model is indicating some strengthening. I also think we may see some strengthening overnight with this system. That's why I think we still get a Category 3 out of this before it scrapes by the Carolina coast. All right, let's look at the European model here. Let's see if the 18, let me see, I want to reload this up one more time here. Stand by for a second, and I want to see, nope, okay, it's still right there, 18Z. So here we go. This one is more on line with what's there. So this right here, this is your 8 o'clock position, showing it pressure at 938. So that's pretty close, 941, 938. That's only 3 millibars. All right, so that is just a little bit of a difference there. So this comes up here, and it drops it off to 937, 939, 939, so 941 there. So what this is showing here is that the storm may strengthen slightly, but should hold its own as it's going past the Outer Banks there, as this goes ahead and slides on out to sea there. So that's what we're seeing on the European model. Now let's talk about the wave heights. That's probably the biggest deal with this thing. It's going to be the really high wave action that we got going all up and down the eastern seaboard, especially out the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I mean, we're talking seas right up in here, probably getting close to 20, 25 feet. This is 50 out here. I know it's a wrong color, if you can kind of see that. That's 50-foot waves out in that purple section. So, again, a very large wind field, hurricane force winds going out 105 miles from the center as the last full update we had. and the tropical storm force winds almost 275 miles from the center. So this is a large wind field as forecasted. Again, for comparison's sake, on Saturday when I was watching it blow up when I was at Fox 5 in Atlanta, it was only had hurricane force winds going about 25 miles from the center, and the tropical storm force winds were only about 105 miles from the center. So it is a much larger wind field than what we had with this thing back on Saturday when it kind of blew up, when it became a Cat 5 for about 18 hours. It also had an eye that was only about 6 miles across. The eye on this one right now, last update, was 20 miles, and it was open on the southwest section. That was the last vortex message we had. So I'm waiting from the Hurricane aircraft, and I'll keep checking on that here this evening to see what's going on with that, to get an idea what's going on there. So again, here's the wind profile on this. This is 8 o'clock, so this is as of right now. So out here on the Outer Banks, it's showing winds here 34, 35, 36, low 30s, a little breezy out there, but nothing too bad there as of the 8 o'clock hour. But we're going to go forward here in time here a little bit as we get till 2 o'clock in the morning. Now it changes a little bit here. 54, 54, 60, 47, 40. So we're getting tropical storm force winds, even getting some tropical storm winds here kind of inland here a little bit too. So we've got the 2 o'clock in the morning, things start to get a little windy out there. And even at 8 o'clock in the morning, 49, 54, 56, 60, 56, 51. So we get some pretty good winds here. Now, the infrastructure out there, I think, can handle 50, 60 mile per hour winds. They get that pretty regularly there. So I'm not worried about any really widespread power outages out there. But that continuous wind energy that's going to be driving those winds. You see those arrows there? They're just kind of driving it there on the upper part of the island here. That's probably where the worst wave height surge is going to be coming in, as that persistent wind just kind of drives the ocean into those areas. So that's going to continue to be a problem there. Again, if you guys are watching on the YouTube channel, if you could do me a favor, if you have never subscribed or you said, who is this crazy person doing weather? Well, my name's Greg. I'm a meteorologist here. I'm kind of a no-nonsense type of guy. It seems like everybody on social media, I don't care if it's on TikTok, I don't care if it's on YouTube, Facebook, they're over the top on everything out there. I don't play that game here. I like to give it to you straight and kind of go with the mantra of being prepared and not scared. That is what I like to do here. I've been a meteorologist for over 25 years and freelance at the Fox station here in Atlanta, Georgia. And again, I just want to share my knowledge and experience with you so that you can plan accordingly, and maybe you can join us in the future. We do a weather daily, the weather report every morning, 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, to kind of get an idea of what's going on from coast to coast. And I also do a local version for you guys on Facebook. Make sure you do the same thing. Make sure you give me the likes and the thumbs up there. What I'm hoping to do on the Facebook side of this is, as we're growing the audience, which we're coming up on 14,000 on Facebook, is I'm hoping to get it up large enough to be able to attract sponsors to help give the capital to bring in professional level graphics. I want to buy a system called Baron Links. It's like the hardware is like 15 grand, and then the monthly fees is like $1,500 a month. So you got to have some dollars, some money to help get that. That's professional level graphics. It'll really give this a whole new look on top of the stuff, and it'll augment what I'm already doing. I'll still use the other outside sources, but I want to try to use both of them here. So you guys help me out as best you can. I do appreciate you guys. And again, it's kind of tough to go up against the bigger channels, especially on YouTube. But you guys here on Facebook, all across North Georgia, again, whenever we get deeper in the hurricane season, if we get something that's coming up our way, I want you to be able to tune it in right here and not have to be worried about what you're seeing out there on other social media platforms out there that will tell you it's raining cats and dogs when it's not. I just want to keep y'all safe and keep y'all prepared. All right, let's go back over here let's go to the cameras out real quick. Let's go check that out real quick. Let's check out the cameras here. Let these update here. The YouTube, you got to hit that refresh button on YouTube. If you don't do the refresh, you'll get old images out there. All right, so it looks like here, Wilmington Beach, it's looking kind of rough down there. And the camera's getting real fuzzy out there because of the rough waves. Kind of hard to see that a little bit, but looks like the Myrtle Beach camera might be down. That's definitely not now. Jacksonville looks right, and Turks looks right, but that Myrtle Beach camera, that does not look right. That looks a little looks like that camera may have come down because it's obviously getting dark out there. So let's look at this camera here. There's that one. Oh boy, I was hoping it wouldn't be so doggone fuzzy. But you can kind of make out the waves though. It's really rough out there with the wave heights. those wave conditions out there are going to get worse and worse and worse here through the night, man. Just like I showed you on those models, you're going to see that going on out there. All right, we got Jacqueline watching on Facebook. What are the waves going to be reach height highs? Again, along the Outer Banks, Jack, I'm thinking 20 plus feet. You see the break waves there. It's kind of hard to see. I know it's kind of fuzzy there, but that's what I'm expecting on those Outer Banks out there. There's going to be some coastal erosion. There's going to be some dunes that are going to come down. There's already been some roads that have been cut off. I already know that. So that's going to be a real pain in the butt. It'll be a couple days to kind of clean up out there. And I know they're going to want to get it back quick because Labor Day weekend's only a couple of weeks away. And of course, it's tourist season, so they want to make sure they get that going. Hopefully the storm doesn't cause a whole lot of havoc for the Outer Banks, so that their Labor Day weekend is not not a big wash there for those guys. We don't want to see that. So hopefully they'll be looking okay there for Labor Day weekend. Now, the good news is, I'll say this, for Labor Day weekend, I know it's still about, Labor Day weekend, for those who haven't been tracking, is very early this year. It's September the 1st, which is actually the earliest Labor Day weekend can fall for obvious reasons. The first Monday in September, it's on the 1st this year. So it's only about 10 days away. And the way things are trending right now, it looks like we're going to have a very big trough, colder temperatures. It's going to last right through the end of the month. At least that's the way the Climate Prediction Center just put out their new update. So I don't see any big changes there on that. So anything from the tropics, that East Coast, I think you're looking pretty good. Hey, thank you for the donation there. I appreciate that. That was that was Diane over on Facebook. Thank you, Diane, giving me the little star treatment there. And those on YouTube, you guys can also do a super chat donation if you want to do that as well. Again, I do not keep the money. The money goes right back into the channel. I do it for advertising and trying to grow the product to make it a self-sufficient platform. So anyway, again, we're just going to kind of watch and see what goes on with the storm tonight. I think we're going to see, I want to see what goes on here over the next couple hours. I'm going to keep a watchful eye on the Hurricane Hunter aircraft too. I want to kind of see what's going to go on with that real quick. Let me double check here. I'll keep checking this religiously, guys, because I want to check and keep checking to see. I know there's supposed to be aircraft heading out there right now. So, there's a new message here. It did come in. So it's 941 millibars. Eye is 20 miles across, but is open on the southwest quadrant. Flight level winds. These winds. It's kind of weird. The air pressure is not really lining up too much with the knots, but 105 knots, which is about 115 miles per hour roughly. Let me double check that. Hey Siri, what is 105 knots in miles per hour? 120. I was close. All right, so 120. So that's the flight level winds at 120. So that's why they kept the winds at 110, because they usually do they formulate it what it means at the flight level, which is usually about 10,000 feet, and what it would be down to the ground. So we'll still see. I still think the 11 o'clock advisory will be 115. I thought the 8 o'clock might be, but again, they're just out there doing their missions right now with the Hurricane Hunter aircraft. So we'll see how that works out. I still think by the 11 o'clock we'll get that. Hey, Rita, good to see ya. Well, Rita, you've been watching for a while. You got the passion out there. We got Raven Keevler out there. Yeah, you guys over in Alabama got a lot of rain there today for sure over that way. And I think we're going to still see some more wet weather over there today. The thing across the southeast is once the frontal system, the thing is you kind of see here on the edge of the storm, you see these thunderstorms back over here across Georgia on the edge of this. So this is out ahead of that one front. We got one front coming in that's catching this hurricane. It's going to shove it on out. And as the hurricane goes north, and it gets up into the westerlies, it buckles the jet stream because it's taking high pressure and it's going with it. So the big cool down that we're going to see next week over a big part of the country is a direct result of this storm. So you kind of get an idea of how tropical systems influence the weather. So you might say, hey, we're not getting a direct hit by the hurricane. Well, yeah, we're not, but it's going to have a big influence on our weather. So we're going to have an unusually cool air mass come down. And I tell you, the big thing on this is that when I first saw how this thing was going to go, and they were coming out of the cloud, I thought they were being awfully conservative. I was like, oh, come on now. This thing's going to get a lot of things. But they really got to wait and see to get a bit closer to kind of get an idea of what kind of cool air is up in Canada right now. And all indications, by the way, for those who are interested, I think the winter's going to be bad. I don't know. I'm look. I know we're going to be in a very weak La Nina, which is not too terribly bad. That usually indicates a milder winter. But looking at some atmospheric things as well as some ocean temperature anomalies here and there, not just in the La Nina zone. I think we're in store for a fairly a cold winter this year. We'll see. I might be wrong, but we'll see how that works out. All right, who we got over there on of course, we got Diane over there on Facebook watching. And Denise, oh, you also gave us stars. So thank you, Denise. Denise gave some stars over on Facebook as well. Again, I do appreciate you guys doing that. Hopefully I'll get my Facebook tax issues taken care of. Facebook, for those who don't know, if you understand how Facebook and YouTube, you have to fill out W-9s. You have to do that, obviously, for any kind of income that you earn. So I've got my whole, the North Georgia Majestic Weather is an LLC. It is a legitimate business in the state of Georgia. I have a tax EIN number. The only problem is on Facebook is that it doesn't have my formal name. It's got Greg Majeski and not Gregory Majeski to line up with the IRS EIN number. So there's a discrepancy there. And then on another one of those forms, it lists the business as Greg Majeski. It doesn't say North Georgia Majestic Weather. So I can't go in there and change that, and I'm going back and forth with Facebook trying to fix the doggone thing. I got a little time to work on it though, but we'll get that worked out. YouTube was pretty easy. That was pretty straightforward. That was easy. But Facebook, no, it's been a nightmare for that for a long time. When I was doing the Facebook thing, we were. This is the third page I've launched because the first one got hacked. The second one got blown up by a media company in Atlanta. So this is my third one. And I think we're on to something good there right now. Let me go here to the radar real quick. Again, if you've not hit that like button over on Facebook, if you're new, checking out the broadcast for the first time, we got a lot of watchers out there. Very important on Facebook, man. Guys, I got to get that thing moving. I'm okay with the numbers we're doing all right. We're getting like 5,000 a month. I really want to kick that thing into high gear. If we can. I really want to start trying to get some advertisers and stuff in here. YouTube, you guys know what you got to do there. It's getting dark out there. Can't see him too much. He's pretty much done for the day. Let's check out the boat for camera. See, about 2 feet of water on the roads that fed in the beach parking lot on Atlantic Boulevard near East Drive and West Drive. And water is still coming over the beach. This was at 6:34 this evening. So we got water coming in on the high tide. I think we're heading out toward low tide right now. And so we got some water reports down there, Buford down there. So it's this area up in here that's going to be Nags Head, coming down to Avon. This whole area up in here, especially from Nags Head down to Avon, this is going to be the worst area, I think, as far as that piling of the water, as far as the wind's going to be concerned, because it's really got a long fetch coming in off the Atlantic that's going to be driving into that zone. And then the winds here are starting to wrap around. As this thing is further and further north, the winds will start shift offshore. But the winds are going to be the longest staying on shore on the north part of this. South part of this is going to it'll start shifting around as the center begins to move up toward the north there. Hey, Edith, good to see you. Edith, good to see you here tonight. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. And for those who just may be joining us, there is the official 8 o'clock advisory track right there, as this thing is still moving north at 14, but eventually it's going to start making the turn to the northeast as some of the westerlies. There's a big trough that's picking this thing up. So as we got this exiting trough here across the east, it's going to pick it up and just shove it right on out to sea very rapidly. Now, for anybody who's going to the coastal areas, if anybody's planning on going to the Carolinas or the Georgia coast or Virginia coast tomorrow or even to Friday, wouldn't recommend it as far as going to the beach. Maybe you want to look, that's fine. But by Saturday and Sunday, the beach conditions should improve out there, and you should see better weather out there going into the weekend. But for right now, tonight, tomorrow, no, pretty bad. Friday, it'll start getting better, but it's going to be a pretty rough next couple of days along those beaches. Oh, let's go to this. I didn't show this earlier here. Let's go to this. This is the ensemble model. I'll be very interested to see tomorrow morning when I do the weather report update to see how this changes. Okay, obviously this is our hurricane heading out here, moving on out. So we got that one. and this is the one that probably will become Ferdinand. That'll go up this way. Right now, this ensemble's not picking up very well this area down in here. We'll wait and see, even though it looks like that's a little bit better. So we'll have to watch that one closely. That's the one that I'm most interested in. I'm not worried about Erin. It's going out to sea. If that becomes Ferdinand, I'm not worried about that one. That's going out to sea. It's the one behind that if it stays far enough south. Again, here, look at this big high here. This is your Bermuda high, and that weakness is right there. So it's sliding right in between there. So it's the one, that other one, we'll see if that gets developed. It can't develop too early. If it develops too early, it'll get curved right off. That's the one I'm worried about, staying far enough to the south that it may sneak into the Caribbean. And then, because of the big troughiness that's going to be across the east toward the end of the month, to put it this way, guys, when you get something this far out in here, you're basically about 10 days from the coast, 8-10 days away. So it's got a ways to go. And the fact that we have this troughiness that's expected to still linger into the east, if it gets into the Caribbean and into the Gulf, it's going to turn to the north. It'll be pulled northward because of the trough that's going to be sitting in those areas. So we'll wait and see how that goes here toward the end of that. So again, don't worry about these out here right now. So these, where's that at? Right here. Here it is. So again, even though that red area is showing a big development, again, it's just going to follow right in the wake of Hurricane Erin. And then we'll watch this other area disturb weather here to see how this was going to be. We've had a lot of dust out there in the tropics. I've been still seeing it lingering out there. It's starting to decrease. It's starting to get a little bit better out there. But again, it definitely was an inhibitor. In fact, Erin didn't really start to take off until it got far enough away from the dust for it to finally break loose and get on its own when it became a Cat 5, which is actually pretty close to where this area is right now. That's pretty close to where Erin kind of blew up when it was moving up that way. So, and it was sliding by, started getting its act together at that point, and then as it got over near, right before it got to Puerto Rico, it caused a lot of problems there. So again, hey, appreciate you guys checking us out. It is now 8:27 p.m. And let's see what we got going on over here. I need to look at the demographics here. I've not looked at this for a little second. Let's look at YouTube here. YouTube, we've got 68 views out there. We've got 10 people watching, so 306. Yeah, it's hard. I was kind of playing this by ear to see what we were going to get here as far as potential viewership, because we're not getting a landfalling system. So that's the big thing. And over here on YouTube, we're on Facebook. We only got 6, so we're probably not gonna make this a long night. We'll probably go until about 9 o'clock here. We'll see. I want to see if we got a couple more updates here. Just not a high interest audience tonight, but that's okay. This is good testing for me. This is good for me. It's good to kind of get in the habit of doing these again, because we haven't done one of these since last year, but also to kind of troubleshoot some of the stuff here, so that if we get another a storm to kind of track a landfall, we'll have some better tools. Now, one of the things I do have, let me go back to the satellite picture here. Let me go back here to the satellite here, is I do have and I don't know why this thing's doing that. I really got to figure out why that is doing that. I've not been able to figure out what's causing that. But I do have a consulting meteorologist. I'm going to bring on board. I'll share his name and his stuff here on the Facebook side here pretty soon. I'm going to do that. We're going to do that for so that you guys will see him. The idea will be there will be an up and a down screen here on this side that you're seeing right there, so that we can do tag team coverage. He is a very experienced meteorologist. He's retired from the Weather Channel, worked there for a lot of years. And he's got a lot of knowledge when it comes to tropical systems. And it's good to have another set of eyeballs too. So the idea will be to bring him on board and to do a little crosstalk and stuff if we get a situation to where we're getting a landfalling tropical system here across the United States. Because right now, this thing's going to stay far enough offshore where it's not going to be too big of a problem. So again. It's a couple things I want to kind of work on. Hey, speaking of that, you guys out there on Facebook and YouTube land, if you guys have any products or any ideas or anything that you'd like to see to be included in these observations, please always just post those things down below. Now, of course, this setup is a kind of a hybrid setup taken from our our normal severe weather mode coverage for those who've watched us do it in the past with the crawl information down below. The crawl will always, when we're in the hurricane central mode, the crawl will always be about the tropical watches and warnings. If there's a tornado watch up for a landfalling hurricane, it'll include that too, just the generic information on there. But obviously the crawl down below, the alert system down below, which obviously showed the flash flood warnings there across North Carolina and Virginia, and that's rotating through. Then you're seeing that down there in Louisiana too. This has been the summer of the flood, by the way. That'll stay consistent. That'll always be there with any kind of landfalling hurricane, because we'll get that. And speaking of that, for you over there in Facebook or on Facebook world, you just got a severe thunderstorm warning there in Fulton County, which is actually in my neck of the woods. So we did get a severe thunderstorm warning there. Let's go check that out real quick, just because I want to. Let's go check that out. We got a severe thunderstorm warning over here in Fulton County. I saw that big storm on the satellite kind of blowing up there. Oh, yeah, look at all that lightning there. Yeah, they got a big thunderstorm there. They got a severe thunderstorm warning here in Fulton County. This goes for central Fulton County, goes till 9 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm was located over East Point or near Atlanta, moving south at 10. 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail there in Fulton County. So we're getting, to give you an idea where I'm at, guys, if you ever want to know where I was, I live right up here. That's where I'm at. So this is down here in Metro Atlanta. And we've had a pretty good coverage of storms today. I thought we'd be a little more isolated, but no, it was probably about the same as what we had yesterday here across the area. I think tomorrow will be a little bit less because of the influence of the hurricane. Typically, when you get a landfalling hurricane, you get a lot of substances along the side. So, but you can see all the rain here back over toward Alabama. Alabama's had some pretty good rains here today. Good thunderstorm down there near Selma, and some light rains up here across North Georgia. Got a little rain near me, but not a whole lot. Anyway, I just wanted to go touch base on that because I saw that warning come out for my backyard, pretty close by. And again, not looking too bad here on the coast right now. Jim Cantore would be a cool guest. Yeah, Jim would be. He's still working. I do know, somebody was asking about Jim. I do know Jim. Yes, I did. I worked, Jim Cantore, I worked at the Weather Channel from 1997 to 2000. I was there for 3 years. I worked in the radio department. Got to know Jim pretty well. I will say that Jim is, what you see is what you get. That's not an act. That's just how he is. He's very hyperactive when it comes to his weather.
And I only saw him 13 hours a week when he was
Oh, yeah, there. Okay, whatever, go away. My wife didn't let me work at the Weather Channel because I worked some crazy hours. And we were newlyweds at the time, so you could appreciate that. So anyway, so Jim is a great guy. He's still working. He's still retired. So therefore, I can't bring him into a platform like this. I'd love to if he was retired. I'd bring him on board. But I actually got another Weather Channel buddy who was a former on-camera meteorologist who I've been talking to, who I hope to bring in here on conversations as well. So that's what we're looking at there. What is just double checking here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Yeah, boy. Well, we gave it a shot tonight. Yeah, the interest is not there tonight, guys. Oh, well. I kind of knew it was going to be a long shot. I wanted to see if there was going to be any interest tonight, and they're just not, because the storm's not hitting landfall and not coming in and stuff. So anyhow, we gave it a shot. I wanted to give it a shot. So we only got my regular folks, and God knows, I love you. You 10 folks out there on YouTube land, and we only got one over on Facebook. So we've been going for about 30 minutes. So I'm ready to throw in the towel. I tried, and that's okay. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get off now. There's no interest out there, Julia. There's just except for the people who love me, and I love y'all. I love one of y'all. No, we're talking weather, Julia. There's just not a lot to talk about when there's nothing going on. I was just kind of waiting to see what was going on with the hurricane hunters. And, I guess I should have just made this an update. They still take it to a Cat 3, though. There's the Cat 3. They take it up to 115 there. And then here they got it still at 115. So they only bring it up a little bit there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. And maybe watch some baseball. And but you guys can join me tomorrow morning. I'll be back on with the weather report at 8:30. I'll have your 8 o'clock update. We'll see. At that time, we'll kind of get an idea of what kind of damage, what kind of stuff's been going on. I think I want to add my Twitter feed on here. I've not done that slide yet, so I need to add that Twitter feed on here. I'm going to go ahead and put that back on here as well. And we'll go from there. Like I said, work in progress, a little bit at a time. All right. What's that? I don't have any questions. I already did that one. I already answered that. I said 20 feet. My wife's micromanaging me. Any of you guys out there understand that she is? I'm going to. She just wants to make sure I get all the questions out there. So I do also all those out there. Rita left. Okay, Rita's gone. Rita's good. Good to see you too, Edith. Okay. All right. That's going to do it for tonight, guys. Again, it was a good little test run. I get a nice little update though. It was still good. And hopefully we'll do a little more of these in the future. And we're going to put a flash flood warning over Fulton County because that stuff's just not moving. Man, that's pretty bad. They just put Fulton County just put up a flash flood warning for that cell back over here. Let me loop this thing. Is that thing moving all that much? A little bit. Look at the outflow boundaries all over the place. Boom. Yeah, they put some flooding at urban areas and heavy rain. Not a good thing. All right, that's it for tonight, guys. You guys take it easy. Join me tomorrow morning for the weather report at 8:30. If you're coming in after the broadcast, please hit that subscribe button. Facebook, give me a like, give me a follow over there. I do appreciate you guys. Every person we can gain, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. All right, you guys take it easy. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning. You guys take it easy. Bye-bye.